because it's connected to the internet. Like I almost use it as a replacement for Google search. I type any questions in there if I'm having trouble with something or needing a tutorial or walkthrough on how to do something. I can usually go to Perplexity and get the step-by-step breakdown. But then what's cool and what we can take a look at here in just a second is when you use Perplexity, it's actually scanning the web for resources on the information that you're asking about. So it'll provide you with the links to those sources where it's pulling that information from. So if you want to do a deeper dive into a specific source, a YouTube video or a chat, like community chat type thing, you can do that. But yeah, it's become I use it every day. Let's just say that, and I can't say the same for any of the other ones.
Okay. All right. Well, then, prove it. Pull up something from Perplexity and let's see how you're using it, and I'll see if it's really convincing me whether or not it's something I want to dig into more. And I have been a little bit based on your influence, but I still haven't been sold on it yet. So I would love to learn more here.
Absolutely. So are you this might further complicate how our connection is going, but are you able to see my screen now?
I am.
Okay. So, first up, I had a couple things queued up here just because I wanted to show you guys, but with Perplexity, it looks very basic. It says where knowledge begins, and then you can ask it anything. So we can ask it.
And it looks just like ChatGPT,
could
really.
we ask it? In a way, it does. How to hard boil eggs. We'll just be very very basic with it.
What every content creator asks an LLM anytime. Yeah.
Exactly. Marc gets it. So this is running on the Pro version of Perplexity. So it's very similar to ChatGPT Plus, where it's $20 a month. I actually, when I did it, I had pre-ordered the Rabbit R1, which is like a little AI hardware device, and I got a year free of Perplexity AI, and now I'm probably never going to go back. So we got the answer in here, how to hard boil eggs. You can see right out of the gate, it gives you all of the sources here that it's pulling information from. So we got 11 different sources that it gathered. But then, this is more ChatGPT-like. It gives us a summary, and it's what it pulled from that information. Let's place the eggs in a single layer, bring the water to a full rolling boil, yada, yada, yada. Some few additional tips, and then we can ask follow-up questions. What's the best way to peel hard-boiled eggs? Can I use an Instant Pot to make them? Or we can just type in follow-up questions here if we have anything else that we want to follow up on. So there, nothing too crazy, but it does make for an excellent resource and research tool. And I mentioned tutorials and things like that. I will use Perplexity AI to help me with editing, video editing tips. So I have this whole little category, if you will, a folder of Adobe Premiere questions that I've asked, and it saves them all into one spot here. So let's just take a peek at this one. Is there a keyboard shortcut to show all keyframes in a clip within Premiere Pro? I just used this the other day. Once again, have all your sources. Yes, there are keyboard shortcuts, walks through the shortcuts, and you'll notice in some of these you have the little number icon here. Those are the sources themselves. So if I click on it, it'll take me directly to that link if it'll load for me.
I can tell you already, one of the things that impresses me about it is that left-hand side of the screen and how it's giving you images and options for additional videos on the topic, etc. Like aesthetically, I'm into that so far.
And that is another cool. I want to see, did it show on the last one we did, the hard-boiled egg one? Let's peek in here. Oh yeah, so you got all kinds of images. We can view more. And what's pretty wild is they are very relevant to the content itself. Um, and you can even actually generate images just like you would with ChatGPT. If I click the generate image button, I'll do it, but it might take a minute, so we might not actually get to see what it looks like. I don't know what it would
Does it take a
give us
while
for
in comparison to
hard boiled
ChatGPT?
eggs, but uh, I don't think too bad. I just don't, with my current connection, it might not be very user friendly for us today.
Okay, that's fair. So let's take a look now then back at your your other screen there. Your Premiere.
Oh, here we go. There we
Oh,
go.
look at that.
So that's actually pretty cool. So it does use DALL-E 3 in this instance. And that was something I guess I should have brought up first. When you're using Perplexity, one of the other really cool things about it, if I go into the settings here, is you can pick what model you want to talk with. So you can choose an AI model. You can choose Claude, Sonar, GPT-4o, Claude Opus, Llama, the new Llama model, and you can choose what image generator you want. So you can use Stable Diffusion, DALL-E 3, or Playground V2.5. I think that's just Perplexity's image generator themselves. So I have it set to Claude 3 Opus and DALL-E 3, so that's what I get in my results. All right, sorry. So what were you just saying?
Oh, I was saying you
next?
can feel free to go back to the stuff you were showing us with Adobe Premiere and all that stuff there.
Oh yeah, so this was just the source that I clicked on, so you can see it jumped us right to the additional information. So I use this quite a bit, especially when I'm looking for more how-to type stuff. I'll go to YouTube videos and things like that Perplexity gives. It's just a lot quicker because I'm not picking through links in Google search and trying to find the right article or the right video or whatever it is. It just kind of gives me everything, and then I can go from there. What is cool on this, like obviously research, awesome, but it can also do writing, it can do content creation, it can do a lot of the stuff that ChatGPT can do, but now use internet sourced information. And we can actually create quote unquote little assistants within Perplexity as well. And that is something that I did with the AI briefing. We talked about this a while ago, an AI podcast where it's daily AI news, most relevant news in AI each day kind of thing. And a lot of the script that I'm writing now coming from Perplexity. Perplexity do research for having it take that information that I did the research on and actually develop a script that was from it. So before I show you an actual script here, this and the Adobe Premiere one that you saw here, these are called collections. And it's like groups of searches that you've done. But what you can do with these collections is you can give them prompts. And I basically treated this like it was a custom GPT or an assistant and said, your job is to write a portion of a podcast script based on the information you discover. The podcast script is for an AI news podcast called the AI Briefing, features 2 to 3 recent news articles, yada, yada, yada. So now, if I come in here into this collection and I say, let's just go, I'll put my mic down for a second, but Apple Intelligence delays. We'll just see what it comes up with there. So anybody who doesn't know, Apple delayed the Apple Intelligence official launch to a later version of iOS 18. So
I didn't know
news
that.
around that.
I hadn't
Very
heard
recent
that.
news.
When did that
actually.
come out? That news?
Just like a few days ago.
Wow. Interesting.
I think they're rolling out like a beta, some kind of beta deal, but it's very limited as far as what AI functionality exists in it. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then of course the thing doesn't listen to me. It didn't write my script. Let's try this again. Here, let's add.
We're gonna have to buy Nick a stand for his truck.
Release of this. Sometimes I gotta tell it a little more than what I did before. So hopefully this will give us just a script now.
Like ChatGPT, does it let you go back and edit an initial prompt you gave it and then resubmit that prompt? Or do you have to just go to the second line and redo a prompt, like start it over again?
No, so that's actually what I did here. This isn't a new page. This is actually the same exact one.
Okay.
If you click this edit query button, it takes you back to that specific chat. But it worked. So, per my instructions, the script should be 5 to 6 long, sentences long. So it's saying, here's your 5 to 6 script. Apple fans will have to wait a bit longer to experience the company's new AI features known as Apple Sentence Intelligence, originally slated to launch with iOS 18 in September. Now pushed back the release to October, yada, yada, yada. So then this script is ultimately what ends up making it into my podcast, with potentially a few tweaks as well. So in reality, what I do like about it is it does function as custom GPTs would. You can create your own like little models, if you will, to do specific tasks for you. But where to me it kind of outshines what ChatGPT can do is the fact that even though all it did was write a script for me, you still have all of these sources that it pulled that information from.
Yeah.
Which I think is so handy. Even if you ask ChatGPT for those sources, you usually get made up crap.
It's true. You definitely do. And yeah, and I definitely find myself going and spot checking, making sure that the information it's given me is real by either going to another AI or Googling it to make sure. Yeah.
So that's like the consumer, I call it consumer side of ChatGPT, what most people are going to use, or Perplexity, what most people are going to use Perplexity for. I went and I kind of took it a step further and integrated it into make content. Essentially, this became my main driver for research and writing scripts for the episodes. And I know we talked about this in a previous ProCast. So if you're interested in learning more about the AI podcast, how it's built and automated and all that, go check that out. It should be live on our YouTube channel. But pretty much everywhere I have Perplexity used to be ChatGPT or OpenAI. And now, so Feedly Place gives me recent news headlines from all these different sources. I choose one of those headlines that interests me the most. So in the case of probably a couple episodes ago now, they talked about the Apple Intelligence delay. That was in one of the articles that Feedly gave me. So I essentially flat, and then it sends that information, and then I tell Perplexity if it'll open. And okay, I tell it to research that topic from a journalistic perspective, and then I have it write me a script, and then I have it give me the sources. So now it's not just taking an article and the information in that article, but it's going and finding more information about that topic with more resources and sources that I can include in the episode. And that is ultimately what I end up providing as, one, the script for my show, and then additional resources, and kind of like if you want to dig deeper into the stories, you can reference the sources that are in the show notes. So that's been, me, probably one of the coolest things, because I don't know, I kind of feel a little strange pulling information from sources and then not like telling people where I got the sources from. So this allows me to be totally transparent with where the information actually comes from, and I totally believe in that kind of transparency.
Yeah, that's very cool. Thank you, Nick. And I see it, and I think it's a matter of me actually just getting comfortable and even remembering to go use something else, because it's been so ingrained in me to just go to ChatGPT when I'm in need of something, some assistance like that. But yeah, I mean, I see how much more you can get out of using something like Perplexity. And I love the idea of being able to switch between different models, not just what Perplexity has, but you could theoretically just go and use ChatGPT using Perplexity. So yeah, it seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, and I honestly now like their mobile app is really friendly. With the version, you can become really essentially a conversation with Perplexity on the iOS already knows. And it's version, it's kind of neat. Like about like it's almost like a plan push to talk. You kind of like hold down the button, and then you can ask a question, and then it does the normal stuff that it will do, but it actually speaks back to you the replies. So I know ChatGPT and OpenAI, they've been announcing and teasing that voice model, and this kind of works very similar to that. Maybe not quite as real time, but you get that. Plus, you get all the sources and where it pulled all that information. It does go back into the web version. So I've been kind of enjoying that I can just literally have a conversation with the AI and do research while I'm like driving or whatever.
Not driving, Nick. You're not driving and doing that research.
No, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. I'm not in my truck right now.
Yeah. You're definitely not driving right now. Let's make it very clear. He is not driving. Yeah.
Okay, that is very true.
So, all right. So here's what I think we should do. That delay is starting to drive me crazy. And I don't know if it's your connection. I don't know what it is, but occasionally it gets a little bit spotty when you're talking. So I want to switch gears. You're welcome to stay and watch. And if you don't want to, you don't have to, because again, I think it's too distracting having the back and forth right now due to the delay and what have you.
Yeah, I actually have to. I'm getting called to another meeting right now, so
Okay.
I will leave you here. I
Awesome.
appreciate you bringing me on, and if anyone has questions about Perplexity or any of that stuff, you know where to find me and Marc.
Yes, indeed. We are on the Minvo Discord. We are available via email, whatever works for you. We're happy to help however we can. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you. And I am going to share my screen. And what I want to share with everyone really is, so I put out a post about a week ago, I guess, on Instagram. And the post was really to showcase some of the things that I do for a living to try to get new business. And because I don't do enough of it, quite frankly. And so I made this post, and one way that I got myself to do it, full disclosure, it's just sometimes I feel uncomfortable. I feel awkward showcasing my stuff, my talents, my services on social media. I feel like whatever, it's all silly and just limiting beliefs. And what I try to do to work through those limiting beliefs is try to create content that I enjoy creating to help share that message. So in this case, I got a glimpse of inspiration when I was scrolling social media, I believe, and I saw the old Peanuts cartoon, and it was just a still shot of Lucy in her Doctor is In booth, where she usually then has Charlie Brown come talk to her and gives advice, right? So, and I saw the Doctor is In, and it hit me. Why not the podcaster is in? I teach people how to podcast or how to grow or monetize a podcast. So why not change Doctor to podcaster and change Lucy to a Peanuts version of me? And what better way to do that than get the assistance of AI? So I will share my screen, and I'm going to show you how I did that. Let me do so now. Share. And we are sharing. The podcaster is in. Okay. And just to give you a little glimpse, these are the images that I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see them yet. You probably can't because it's not cooperating with me. Stand by. Share my whole screen. And it doesn't want to, so this is going to be interesting. Here we go. So this is what I want to share. This is what I will be sharing with you, how I created these different images using ChatGPT. Now I have to go back and I'm going to show you. This is going to be challenging and I'm going to make it work, I promise you. So what I did was I went to ChatGPT, thinking about this as the theme, the Peanuts theme the podcaster is in. And the first thing I thought of is, well, let me give it a picture of me because ultimately I want it to create that character that resembles me. And so I gave it a picture of me. This was from our recent conference that we hosted, the Empowered Podcasting Conference out in Charlotte about a month ago. Actually, yeah, exactly a month ago. And what I did was I gave it a picture of me. I said, describe this person. And I put me in parentheses. And I did that very intentionally because identifying it as me early on is going to help the process later when I'm prompting ChatGPT. And it did a great job explaining it. And then I gave it a picture of Lucy from the Peanuts. And I said, I didn't give it any other prompt but this. Create an illustration. I should show, I ended up doing it again here. Create an illustration like this one, but make the character look like me. That's all I gave it as a prompt. And this is what it spit out. So cool. Like I dig the character. I think that's good enough. Kind of looks like me. And not crazy about the text. I know some of you, if you have done any kind of graphic or design work in ChatGPT, spelling is not its strong suit. Most of these LLMs are not great about getting the text portions of the design, get it right. They don't usually. Or it's got to be pretty simple to get it right. So I had that to deal with. And at first I thought to myself, well, let's create a second version, see if it gets it better. And little things bother me too, by the way, like this foot here, that's just kind of sticking out. So I said, do another version, change the words psychiatric help to podcasting help. Well, it didn't follow those instructions at all. It did put podcaster is in down here. It did it there as well, but it didn't make all the changes. It's still putting stuff here. I didn't like it, right? I actually ended up having it make a few versions. This one's not showing up at the moment, but I had to make a few versions. Didn't love it. And I see now it's not showing any of our pictures. So let me refresh it. There we go. So you can see it was doing a decent job, but not really quite hitting the mark. So this is when I bring Canva in. And due to the back and forth of sharing everything here, what I'm going to do is just really show you this one particular slide as an example, and then leave it there. I won't go through slide by slide. It'll be too painful for you to watch and for me to do. So now what I'm going to do is share with you my Canva project. Here we go. Okay, so I essentially imported, and if I'm not looking at you, not to worry, I'm just looking at my other screen where I have the design. So if you're looking here, you can see this is the one we were working with. First of all, it's not to the full size of a design for a carousel post. So one of two things you could do. You could certainly keep enlarging it as best you can. You can also highlight an area that's not the design. So any of the white space, highlight it, and then go to this background color section up here at the top. And a lot of times, most of the time, Canva will identify the colors in the design. So this is the color that looks to be the background used by ChatGPT. I hit that and boom, it all matches very nicely, right? How do I get rid of this nonsense? Because this doesn't work for me. So I click on the design so it gets highlighted. I go to this edit section and I go to magic eraser. You can see you can change the thickness of the brush. So you can see right now, if you look carefully in this psychiatric help area, there's a circle that I'm hovering with. And if I increase it, you can see now it's much bigger, easier to get just big areas as such, but harder to stay within the lines, right? So I'm gonna find a little happy medium here. I'm gonna do this. And yes, this is a little bit of manual work. So for those of you who think, oh, they're using AI and it's easy and it makes it so easy and that's just lazy and a shortcut and blah, blah, blah. No, you still have work to do these days. I mean, one of these days, eventually, it'll probably get even better and easier and you won't have to manipulate, say, as much. But like Nick, I'm down for making this exactly the way I would do it if I had the artistic talent. So then you hit the erase button, you give it a second or two. And what I'm going to tell you right now is I don't anticipate this to be a clean sweep, but it did a pretty actually good job there. Sometimes you'll see just a blubbering mess. It'll just look like essentially I smeared the ink on the panel here that we just erased. A way around that really is to just do it a few times, much like if you are cleaning a very stained spot. Sometimes you have to clean it a few times before you get rid of that stain, right? So that's the way I do that. And I got rid of other stuff here. For example, if you look, the podcaster is in this here. It's a glass panel. Well, I know well enough to know that glass panels were probably not used by Lucy because she threw this thing together in the cartoon. She's probably not installing glass panels into her little play box here. So I erased this stuff. I erased the lines indicating that this is a glare from the glass, etc. I hit erase. So I cleaned all of that up. I found a font that worked well for this, a cartoony type of font. And ultimately, I came up with this. So you can see I also added some clip art to the sides. I erased everything that was on the original design, added clip art. I even added a little microphone to emphasize the point that this is a podcaster. And voila, that's how I did that slide. Right, so I'm using two tools, ChatGPT to help create the base, and then Canva to erase some of the mistakes and add some of the details that I wanted to include in the design. I tend to find that it's best to avoid doing anything with text within ChatGPT and then just come into Canva and do it there. One more thing I want to show you that I can still do within Canva here. I don't have to do the switching back and forth. You get the idea, I hope, that as to how I created each of these slides. I basically gave them prompts. Like this one, I said to it something along the lines of use the same character with all the same characteristics and put him in a scene where he's producing a podcast. And that's what it gave me. Now, there were little things in this design that I had to fix. This was a picture here in this corner here behind the mic. This was a picture, I think, of Charlie Brown. And I didn't want to use Charlie Brown in the picture. And it was a very unusual looking Charlie Brown. His eyes were in the wrong place. His nose were in the wrong place. So I got rid of that using the Canva erase tool. And I just added the word podcast there just to put something in the frame. I didn't want to overthink it and spend more time on this. So just tried to go the simple route, but you get the idea there. What I wanted to show you is this slide here. This was going to be next to impossible to get any AI tool that we have access to really replicate this kind of thing. This is just giving a little personal information about me to my potential client who finds it on social media. And so how do I do that? Well, relatively simple. If you use Canva, you could probably whip this up yourself. But what I did was searched for a template. And long story short, I found this one. So what did I do? Well, the first thing I did was I got rid of her. I think actually I first got rid of the background. Yeah, got rid of the background. Everything is still there, right? It's just right now the background is white, so we can't see it. So let's go backtrack for a minute. So you can get rid of her so that you can replace it with yourself. And then what I did was, with the many renditions of me as a peanut, I found one that was I had it make one that was a standalone of me. I think it comes from this one initially. And I inserted it here. And then I just went in and took all of that text that was already there from the template, and I just replaced it with me. And I moved some things around just to organize it. But essentially, what I'm doing is I'm taking two tools and working them together to create a 10 carousel slide or post. That's how you do it. How long did this take me? I probably did it over the course. I did do it over the course of 2 days, and probably spent 90 minutes to 120 minutes each session. Normally, I would say I wouldn't do that, or spend that much time on it, but I'm a creator, and my clients are creators, and I find it important for me to test the products, play with the products, play with these different tools myself, and get my hands really dirty so that I know what I'm talking about when I'm working with clients. And sometimes we don't have enough resources to get somebody else to do it. So we've got to put in that time, and I've got to get a good gauge. How much time is this going to take people? So just full disclosure, this took me a few hours to get done. And the results were great. I got a ton of great feedback. I got a couple of inquiries. Didn't quite land yet, but it's only been out a week, and I'm pinning this kind of thing to wherever I can, to my different social media platforms, so it can be one of the first things people see. And what I've learned is, based on the feedback I got, it definitely captures attention. And that's the name of the game on social media. We got to capture people's attention to then share that message. So I'm confident in this, that it will deliver, at the very least, a lot of inquiries. And then I have to determine, are those inquiries turning into clients? Are they turning into the right kind of clients, my target audience? But these are the types of methods that I encourage people to do themselves, test, and learn from. And I hope that you learned a little something here today, both from Nick and myself. Two very different things, and I hope they were helpful to you. If you have something that you'd like a little bit more help on, whether it's an AI tool, whether it's a video editing tool, whatever it is that you're using that, or considering to use, that you'd like some insight on, let us know. If you are starting a YouTube channel and not sure where to start, we're happy to help you with that too. We've been there, we've done that. If you're looking to start a podcast, same thing. Reach out to us. Send us a DM and ask your question. And you never know, we may ask you to come join us here live on the Minvo ProCast. So join us here every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. We do this live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and we would love for you to be a part of it. So join us, and until then, make it a great week, everybody. Take care.